Well, hello once again. Welcome back to the Living for His Glory podcast. Unless you're on my YouTube, then welcome back to my YouTube. What a pleasure it is to finish off our first series back, the Book of James. We are diving into our final chapter in James chapter 5. For the last little over a month, we've looked at James. We've gone with one, two, three, four. Now we're finally at 5. As we finish things off, I'm very excited. We're back in the swing of things. We're back at some good consistencies every Monday at 7 a.m. And we will be getting another message, not from the Book of James, because we are now going to be finished with that after this video. I will release details about what will be coming next week, very soon, sometime probably in the middle of the week, about the subject we were talking about. But I'm very excited to talk about it. And soon I'm hoping to have some guests to come and speak on the podcast. I'm very excited for them. We got some great people lined up. They're very, very smart. Uh, but as for right now, that's too few. That's too much future for now. Let's stay in the present of James chapter 5. We see that James starts his fifth and final chapter with a warning to rich oppressors. He says, "Now listen, you rich people, weep and wail because of the misery that is coming on you. Your wealth has rotted, and moths have eaten your clothes. Your gold and silver are corroded; their corrosion will testify against you and eat your flesh like fire. You have hoarded wealth in the last days. Look, the wages you failed to pay the workers who mowed your fields are crying out against you. The cries of the harvesters have reached the ears of the Lord Almighty. You have lived on earth in luxury and self-indulgence. You have fattened yourselves in the day of slaughter. You have condemned and murdered the innocent one who is not opposing you." Now, I am not against people that are rich. Okay, I'm like people that are financially stable. That does not mean that the Lord is against them. In fact, that just means the Lord that the Lord has blessed them. The Lord has blessed them financially. It's not like they became financially stable or wealthy against the Lord's wishes. I mean, obviously, I mean that's just the hierarchy of things. There will always be, those that are richer, and then those that will always be, more poor. I think that where we start to get into trouble is when this money becomes, that's when we start focusing on it. It's not that money is the root of all evil. It's the love of money is the root of all evil. The love of money is the root of all evil, not the actual money itself. So we see in verse 4, it goes, "Look, the wages you failed to pay the workers who mowed your fields are crying out against you." It's this sense of selfishness. The people that worked for you, they weren't paid, they weren't compensated correctly. You hoarded your money. You kept as much of it as humanly possible. That's where things start to get iffy. That's where things get real bad. You in verse 5 it goes into, "You have lived on earth in luxury and self-indulgence. You have fattened yourselves in the day of slaughter." Where again, it's just this hoarding, this love of money. It's just we want it and we focus on it, and that's all we focus on. And it's an easy thing to do, but those who have power are afraid to lose it. Same thing with money. Those who have money don't want to lose it. And that's fine. It's fine. It's fine to keep that financial stability, but it's not fine for it to become the all defining purpose. It's not fine for us to be fattened on it, for us to self indulge in it. It's not fine to keep as much as you can and give as little amount out as you possibly can. That is not what money is for. In fact, I think that God, no, I know that the people that God does bless with money uses it correctly. I think that's money does serve a purpose. Like think about it. Like Mother Teresa, she had to have money to go out and do the things that she did. She had to have money. She had to pay for food. She had to pay for traveling. She had to whatever. But like I mean, Billy Graham is another. He was an amazing evangelist. He had to have money. He had to pay for hotels and traveling and again food. We all need food. So I'm not saying it's bad to have money. I'm saying that the love of it and that the hoarding of it is where things get a little iffy. It's when money comes before other things, when things get iffy. And actual having of the money is not that, it's not bad. It's not bad in itself. It's what that can turn into that we should be wary of. And again, it's like the title of these first 6 verses in James 5. It's a warning to rich oppressors, not to the rich, just to the rich oppressors. So if you have money but you're not an oppressor, you're all good to go. Now we dive into the rest of James 5 verses 7 through 20. Patience in suffering. It says in verse 8. So yeah, it's talking about patience. In verse 7, it's like, see how the farmer waits for the land to yield its valuable crop, patiently waiting for the autumn and spring rains. It says in verse 8, you too be patient and stand firm, because the Lord's coming is near. It's just this reminder to be patient. Like, God's coming soon. And I know this was written 2,000 years ago, which is a long time ago for us, but for God, not really that long, which, it was kind of hard for things to be a long time for a being that's outside of time. So it is coming soon, but God also knows that it's not coming necessarily soon by our standards. So he's encouraging us to be patient, stay patient, and dig into the test and keep at it. Another verse that caught my eye is verse 12. Above all, my brothers and sisters, do not swear, not by heaven or by earth or by anything else. All you need to say is a simple yes or no. Otherwise, you'll be condemned. This goes with literally everything that we've ever seen in every chapter. Not everything, but like this is touched on in every single chapter in James. I think James is getting it through our heads the last little over a month and a half ish. I think he's getting it through our heads, and if he's not, dude, knock, come on, listen up. It's this, like, don't, like, watch your mouth, don't swear. It's like, you don't need to say, F yeah, or on God, or whatever you may or may not say. It's a yes or a no. You don't need to be extra of it. You don't need to emphasize it. It's like it's a yes or a no. It's just that simple. As we continue, actually, no, sorry. The old title, Patience and Suffering, it only goes to verse 12. Now we finished with the prayer of faith in 13 through 20. My bad. Getting into 13 and 14 says, is anyone among you in trouble? Let them pray. Is anyone happy? Let them sing songs of praise. Is anyone among you sick? Let them call the elders of the church to pray over them and anoint them with oil in the name of the Lord. James is listing out these bad things that are happening. These are really bad things. People are in trouble, sick, but it's also listing, is anyone happy? So it's like it's talking about these bad and good things, and whatever may or may not be happening, and it has a theme. It's like if it's in trouble, let them pray. If it's good, let them worship. If it's sick, again, call the elders and pray over them and anoint them in the name of the Lord. It all kind of goes back, no matter what our circumstances are, it should always go back to God. It should always be an act of prayer or praise, whichever one it is. And I kind of encourage to do both, whichever. But no matter what our situation is in any given circumstances, in any given time, our response and what we do should always consistently be the same. And that consistency is, I'm going to focus on God. I'm going to pray to God. I'm going to praise him no matter what's going on around me. In verse 16, it says, therefore confess your sins to each other and pray for each other so that you may be healed. The prayer of a righteous person is powerful and effective. These righteous people, so it says, the prayer of a righteous person is powerful and effective. And I think that since before that kind of defines a righteous person, or what were, at least characteristics of them, confessing your sins to each other and praying for each other so that you may be healed. It's a sense of community. It's a sense of togetherness. And this is kind of what church is for. We could go anywhere to learn about the gospel. There are podcasts and there are books and there are, YouTube channels and whatever else. we can learn about God anywhere. It doesn't have to be in a church. In fact, you don't have to go on any platform. You have an amazing book right here. And if you don't, well, there's going to be a store near you. There's going to be a store near you with one. And I would highly encourage you to get one. A physical Bible is awesome. And if not, there's a Bible app on your phone. I mean, come on. There's a Bible app. There's literally no excuses to not be in the Word. It's at your disposal at all times. How do I know this? Because you have your phone with you at all times. It's simple. I mean, everybody does. I do. Whatever. Everybody does, and that's fine. It's okay. But we literally have the Word at our disposal at all times. So we really don't have an excuse to not be able to learn. But in terms of having this community, confessing to each other and praying for each other, that's a large part of what church does, what church allows. It's like, you go to school and, it allows you to, be able to function socially, you make friends and all the things that you wouldn't have been able to make if you didn't go to school in the first place. That's kind of, it could be a faulty comparison there, but you understand the point. Church is a lot for, the community and being around people that, love Christ the same way that you do. Kind of what the righteous does, they confess to each other and then they pray for each other. Like this amazing Bible group that I had, back in Kentucky, back home as, I'm in Nashville now, but back home I had an amazing Bible study and we just did that with each other like every week. It was crazy. And that's a part of why it was so amazing. And it was very effective. And it was just an awesome time to be in. James in his final verse of verse 20. This is our last verse in James. It's kind of crazy. He finishes off with this. Remember this, whoever turns a sinner from the error of their way will save them from death and cover over a multitude of sins. Now, I would never say it's heretical to say that we save people. That's heretical because Jesus saves. There's even a song about it by an amazing guy named Jeremy, I think. I forget his last name. Camp, maybe? I don't know. But there's a song, Jesus saves. It'd be heretical to say that we save. That's just not the way it is. But we can help. We can profess that idea. Jesus doesn't do all the work. In fact, the way that one of my professors explained it to me is that Jesus invites us into his plan. So Jesus invites us into his plan, and we share in its glory when we partake in it, when we accept his invitation. So we share some of this glory and responsibility by helping people, by being a light and helping people see Jesus. Whoever turns a sinner from the error of their way. So, you helping somebody, you helping a friend or whoever, it ain't got to be a friend, it could be literally anybody. If you help them and if you help them and turn them away from the error of their ways, you will help you will be a part of the thing. You will be a part of the reason that they will be saved from death, and it will cover over a multitude of sins. And that's cool. That's really cool. And I think that's the mission. I really think that's the mission. When I talk about the mission, sometimes I get made fun of a little bit for it. The thing is, like, I also have another mission, a way that I can carry out that mission. But the ultimate mission for all people and for all Christians is this right here. You ready? The ultimate mission for all Christians is to help bring people, is to spread the gospel and to make disciples of all nations. That's our mission. As Christians, that is our mission, to make disciples of all nations, to bring people into heaven with you, to share the gospel, no matter what happens, no matter what persecution you face or whatever. Our mission as Christians to share the gospel, make disciples of all nations, and bring as many people to heaven with us as we possibly can. That is the mission. There's no feeling like it when you have helped somebody see Jesus as a mentor or as just a person, just being a light, and they come to Jesus because they were connected to you. There's no better feeling. And I really want that for you guys. I really want you to feel that and know that. So I encourage you to go out and make disciples of all nations, preach the gospel. And yeah, a lot of people are going to tell you no, but it ain't about getting a lot of people. It's about getting one, just one person. If you get multiple people at one time, that's great. But just one person, just go for, hey, I'm gonna do this, and if I get at least one person, it's all worth it. Just one more person saved, and it's all worth it. That's some really good stuff. And with that, we conclude our sermon, or not sermon, our series on James. We have gone through 1 through 5. If this is your first time watching, I encourage you to go back and watch those first 4 videos. If you have already watched all of James, been with me through all of that, thank you. I'm very glad to be back in the swing of things. It's awesome to be back, and we will continue to be back and continue to do this for weeks to come. Next Monday is when our next video will come out. I will release some details about that in the next few days about what it'll be about. Probably going on a couple of little random videos instead of another series right out of the gate again. But we'll see what our next series will be. That'll be interesting to see. Probably sometime in Christmas break, right after all my finals. Hey, and during Christmas break will be exciting. We'll be back in the OG in the OG room with the OG background. I have my books and the shelves all back behind me again. That'll be fun. Feel like old times. But for right now, thank you for sticking back. Thank you for coming back. It's been great to be here again, and I thank God for each and every one of you guys. I pray that He has spoken through me in some sort of way, and that He will continue to speak through me. That's the real purpose of this. I just want to be a vessel that God speaks through, and that God can use to bring more of His children home. That's it. That's the mission right there, as I have already said. Well, until we meet again next week, have a great week. I encourage you. I love you. I believe in you. And you got this. See you next week.